Imagine waking up one morning, checking your bank account, and realizing a few £1,000s or dollars have simply vanished. No broken windows, no masked intruder, nothing dramatic, just silence and a notification from your bank that something suspicious happened overnight. Welcome to the modern age of crime, where the thief doesn't need a crowbar, only Wi-Fi and your carelessness. This chapter is your doorway into that digital jungle, where scammers, hackers, and con artists lurk behind every click, waiting for your next tap or swipe. The truth is that cyber fraud has grown faster than almost any other type of crime in the past 2 decades. Back in the early 2000s, hacking was more of a rebellious act, often done for fun or to expose security flaws. But as the world shifted everything, money, identity, jobs, even love online, criminals realized something big. The digital economy was a goldmine. They didn't need to rob physical banks anymore. The vaults were now data centers, and the loot was your information. The evolution from pranks to profits is what made cyber fraud a multi-billion-dollar global business. Think about your life for a second. Your paycheck lands directly in your bank app. You shop on websites, you send money through instant transfers. You log in to a dozen platforms without even noticing. Every one of those habits creates a trail of data, digital breadcrumbs if you like. And guess what's the new currency on the internet? Exactly, it's information. The more data scammers gather from you, the easier it is for them to pass themselves off as you. And once they master that trick, your balance, your identity, even your reputation become commodities sold in shady corners of the dark web. But how did we get here? The internet, in its early form, was built for connection, not protection. Back in the 90s, engineers focused on making sure computers talk to each other easily, not on making them foolproof. Security was an afterthought, like locking the doors after you've already built the house. When banks, governments, and big companies started moving services online in the 2000s, the system suddenly became fair game for anyone clever enough to exploit its weak spots. And believe me, those weak spots were everywhere. At first, the stereotypical hacker was a loner sitting in a basement, probably eating cold pizza and breaking into random websites. Today, that image is ancient history. Modern cyber fraudsters work like corporations. They form teams, outsource tasks, and even offer customer service for stolen data. There are black market websites called dark web marketplaces, where you can buy anything from hacked email addresses to full sets of fake credit cards. The astonishing part is that many of these operations run smoother than some legitimate businesses. Let's be clear on this. Not all cybercrime is created equal. Some scams are quick snatch-and-grab attacks, like a fake email promising rewards or refunds. Others are meticulously planned, lasting months, sometimes years. Think of it like an ecosystem. Simple phishing emails sit at the bottom of the food chain, while advanced identity fraud and ransomware attacks sit at the top. The internet, in a way, has become both the hunting ground and the weapon. So how much money are we actually talking about here? It's hard to put an exact figure on it, but international law enforcement agencies estimate global losses from cybercrime to be in the trillions every year. Trillions, with a T. That's more than the GDP of most countries. Those losses don't just come from stolen money, they also come from downtime, reputation damage, data leaks, and the sheer cost of cleaning up after an attack. When a business gets hacked, it's not just a technical issue, it's an economic earthquake. You might think, but that only happens to big companies, right? Wrong. Cyber criminals follow the same logic as street thieves. They go for the easiest target. And the easiest target is often the regular user, someone like you scrolling through emails, trusting URLs that look fine, or reusing the same password everywhere. The internet is full of people who believe they're too smart to get scammed until they do. The genius of modern fraud is exactly that. It makes you feel in control while it quietly drains your wallet. Now, here comes a fun fact that isn't really fun. There's an entire underground economy surrounding stolen data. Your passport number, medical records, and even dating profiles, all of it has a price tag. On the dark web, for instance, a complete identity package can go for less than the price of a decent dinner. The trick here is that one stolen record doesn't mean just one act of fraud. It's more like the first domino in a long chain, one that can include loans, new phone contracts, or even fake tax returns filed in your name. To understand why cyber fraud grew so much, we need to talk about incentives. In traditional crime, a thief risks being chased down or caught red-handed. In cybercrime, the risk is almost zero because criminals operate remotely, often from another country where laws or enforcement are weak. The profit-to-risk ratio is simply too tempting. For every 1,000 victims, even if only a few fall for the trick, that's already a payday. It's like fishing with a net. Throw enough bait and something's bound to bite. But here's where things get nasty. Technology doesn't just help criminals steal, it helps them scale. That's the frightening part. Before, a scammer could target maybe a handful of people at once. Now, with automation, one person behind a laptop can reach millions through mass phishing campaigns. Bots send messages non-stop. Fake websites pop up by the hundreds, and artificial intelligence even writes fraudulent messages that sound completely human. It's industrial-scale theft, wrapped in plain text. Let's pause here. Why is this so effective? It's psychology. Every single scam, from the oldest to the latest, plays with human emotions: fear, greed, curiosity, love. The internet amplifies those triggers because it shortens the gap between impulse and action. You see a scary message saying, "Your account will be blocked," and your brain switches to panic mode before logic kicks in. It's not about being naive, it's about being human. Cybercrime works because it understands you better than you understand it. The role of big data is crucial too. Every click, every purchase, every login becomes a data point. Algorithms turn those patterns into predictions, and scammers exploit them. They know when people are most tired, when they shop the most, and even what type of messages they're likely to trust. Imagine receiving a fake delivery alert just when you actually expect a package. Coincidence? Not always. It's personalized deception, fueled by data leaks and analytics stolen from legitimate businesses. Meanwhile, you might have noticed how online trust has quietly eroded. Think about how often you feel skeptical before clicking a link nowadays. That's not paranoia. That's realism. The problem is that technology evolves faster than regulation. By the time one type of scam is shut down, 10 new ones are already in the wild. Governments try to catch up, but the internet isn't built around borders. Criminals don't need passports to cross into your inbox. And let's not forget the rise of cryptocurrency. Digital coins made transferring money online easier, cheaper, and often anonymous. But they also handed fraudsters the perfect getaway vehicle. Ransomware gangs now demand payment in crypto. Scam coins pop up and disappear overnight. And laundering dirty money is simpler than ever. Of course, crypto isn't evil in itself. It's just the new frontier where both innovation and exploitation thrive side by side. What's tragic is how we often underestimate the fallout of these crimes. It's not just about losing money. Victims of cyber fraud report anxiety, shame, and in some cases, total mistrust toward technology. Businesses lose clients because trust, once broken, is almost impossible to rebuild. The invisible of these crimes makes them feel less real. But ask anyone who's had their savings wiped out or their reputation ruined. It's as real as it gets. So, how do you even begin to fight back against an enemy you can't see? The first step is awareness. That's what this series is about. Understanding how fraudsters operate dismantles their biggest advantage: your ignorance. Once you can spot their tricks, their power weakens dramatically. Throughout the next chapters, we'll break down 12 main ways they try to separate you from your money. Each one uses different tactics, but the logic underneath is the same: exploit human behavior and weak digital habits. Before we move on, take a second to visualize the scale. Somewhere right now, a group of hackers is trying to breach a server, another is crafting a fake investment ad on social media, and someone else is emailing a tech support refund to thousands of users hoping one will bite. They're patient, organized, and persistent. You don't need to live in fear, but you do need to stay alert. Cyber fraud doesn't sleep, and it surely doesn't take weekends off. Here's something to think about. The internet was meant to connect us, yet it's turning into a maze filled with digital traps. The same technology that powered revolutions in business and communication now fuels scams that prey on our trust. But knowledge is your best defense, because once you understand how the con works, the con artist loses their magic. So, let's set the tone for what comes next. We'll explore identity theft, phishing campaigns, love scams, investment frauds, and other digital nightmares disguised as opportunities. You'll learn why every single one of them works, and how you can make sure they never work on you. Keep your seatbelt fastened, because this journey through the underworld of cybercrime is about to get very real. And by the end, you'll see the internet through a sharper, safer lens. Let's start with something truly disturbing. Right now, somewhere on the internet, there could be a copy of your passport, your address, or even your driving license floating around for sale. It might sound like a scene from a cyber thriller, but for millions of people, it's real life. Identity theft has become one of the most personal and damaging forms of cyber fraud, where criminals don't just steal your money, they steal you. They impersonate you to open bank accounts, apply for loans, or even commit crimes, leaving you to clean up a mess that was never yours to begin with. The idea of stealing an identity is not new. Long before the internet, con artists used fake IDs and handwritten signatures to trick banks and landlords. But the digital age supercharged that old trick with two powerful ingredients: endless data and human negligence. Think about it. How many times have you used the same password, shared your birthday online, or uploaded a photo of your new ID without even thinking twice? Each small decision is like a puzzle piece that, once assembled, gives cybercriminals a full portrait of who you are. At its core, identity theft works like this. A hacker gains access to your personal data, either by breaking into a company's database or by tricking you directly. Once they have enough details, your name, address, date of birth, national number, they can pass verification checks meant to protect you. That's when the real damage begins. They might open a credit card under your name, rent an apartment, or sign up for loans, and the bills will quietly find their way to your mailbox months later. The first mistake many people make is thinking, "That won't happen to me." But statistically, it's likely you've already been exposed. Major data breaches involving tech giants, healthcare companies, and even government agencies have leaked billions of records over the years. Your details might already be out there, not necessarily targeted, but waiting for the right moment to be repurposed. In the digital black market, your information doesn't expire. It's archived, traded, and reused like secondhand goods. So how do criminals get your data in the first place? The list is long. It could start with phishing. Those emails pretending to be from your bank asking you to confirm your details. It could be from malware that records your keystrokes, or from fake investment apps that collect your information in exchange for promises of easy profits. Sometimes it's even more mundane. People throw away old documents without shredding them, or they post pictures with sensitive info visible in the background. In short, identity theft doesn't require genius, just patience and opportunity. Once your data is stolen, it usually travels fast. Criminals upload it to encrypted marketplaces, where buyers from across the world browse stolen identities like browsing an online store. Prices vary depending on the completeness of the data. A simple email might be worth a few cents. A fulls, meaning a complete profile with bank and government details, can be worth hundreds. The irony? That black market transaction might be cleaner and more organized than some actual legal platforms. What's fascinating and terrifying is how automated the process has become. Specialized software bots scour the internet for leaked information 24 hours a day. Some hackers don't even steal data themselves. They just buy leaked databases and sort through them. Others use artificial intelligence to cross-match fragments from different leaks, building incredibly detailed identity maps. Imagine someone combining your Facebook post, your old resume, and a leaked e-commerce record. The result is a digital clone you didn't create, but one that can act like you. Let's talk about the financial aftermath, because that's where it hits hardest. Once a scammer uses your name to commit fraud, undoing the damage takes months, sometimes years. Banks, debt collectors, and government agencies might not believe you immediately. During that time, your credit score collapses, your legitimate accounts can be frozen, and you can even lose job opportunities. The cruel part is that while the financial loss can be measured, the stress and emotional exhaustion cannot. But here's another twist. Not all identity theft leads directly to stealing money. Sometimes the stolen identity is used to launder money, commit tax fraud, or smuggle goods through customs systems. In those cases, you might not realize you're a victim until law enforcement knocks on your door. The damage isn't just financial, it's legal. Proving you didn't buy those goods or launder that money can turn into a nightmare of paperwork and endless phone calls. Have you ever wondered why people still fall for basic scams in an age of technology? The answer lies in how identity and trust overlap online. We tend to assume that because we're looking at an official-looking logo or a convincing domain name, it must be real. Fraudsters know this better than anyone. They clone websites, reproduce entire login pages, and even send messages that appear in the same thread as your real bank notifications. One click on a fake link is often all it takes to hand over your life. Now, here's a concept you'll want to remember: synthetic identity. It's when criminals blend real and fake details to create a hybrid person who doesn't technically exist. They might use your real national ID number, but combine it with a made-up name and address. Because it's partly real, automated systems treat it as legitimate. Over time, this synthetic person can build credit, make purchases, or even rent apartments, all while you remain blissfully unaware. By the time the financial institution catches on, the fraudster has already disappeared. One of the biggest enablers of modern identity theft is social media. Platforms like Instagram and LinkedIn are gold mines for personal info. Birthdays, job titles, nicknames, and vacation dates. It's all there. You might think you're just posting updates for friends, but someone out there sees it as raw material. For instance, a hacker might use your child's name as a password clue or your work email to craft a personalized phishing message. The more you share, the easier their job becomes. There's also a technical side to consider: data breaches. Companies collect absurd amounts of personal information, often more than they need. When they fail to secure it, hackers swoop in. A single breach can expose millions of users overnight. But what makes it worse is that most people reuse passwords. So if a leak happens on one site, dozens of other accounts fall like dominoes. It's not exaggeration. One weak password can unlock your entire digital life. Now let's take a quick detour into how stolen identities are monetized. After gaining access to your information, criminals divide it into categories: financial, medical, and professional. Financial data leads to credit fraud. Medical records can be used to get prescription drugs or claim insurance payouts. And professional credentials help create fake employment profiles. There's even a thriving market for stolen Uber driver accounts or Airbnb profiles. Essentially, if something can be tied to your name, it can be sold. You might ask, Why don't authorities just shut these markets down? They do try. But the reality is, for every one taken offline, several new ones pop up, usually hosted in countries with weak cyber laws. Operations move, URLs change, and encryption tools keep the criminals one step ahead. It's a perpetual game of digital whack-a-mole. Meanwhile, your stolen identity keeps circulating for years, traded from one scammer to another like collectible cards. So, how can you protect yourself from becoming a digital victim? The first defense is incredibly boring but powerful. Unique, complex passwords and multi-factor authentication. Yes, it sounds tedious, but those tiny steps create barriers that most hackers skip over because they're time-consuming. Think of it this way: if your house has a strong lock while others leave their doors open, the thief won't bother with yours. Second, be mindful about what you share online. Avoid posting documents, personal numbers, or even full photos of your IDs. Treat your personal data like cash. Don't hand it out unless you absolutely need to. And when in doubt about an email or message, verify it through an official channel, not by clicking any links. Banks or agencies never ask for full credentials by message, no matter how convincing the wording looks. Third, it pays to monitor your financial activity regularly. Checking your credit report a few times a year is not paranoia. It's part of digital hygiene. Many victims detect identity theft simply because they spotted an unfamiliar loan or a sudden dip in their score. The sooner you catch it, the smaller the disaster. Ignoring those alerts, on the other hand, is like letting a small fire spread through your entire financial house. If you're thinking all this sounds overwhelming, you're not wrong. Living online means constantly balancing convenience and risk. But the good news is that awareness cuts most of that risk down dramatically. Criminals thrive on two things: carelessness and confidence. The moment you start questioning messages, double-checking websites, and caring about where your data goes, you move off their easy target list. One more point to remember: identity theft doesn't discriminate. It targets the young professional using public Wi-Fi, the retiree managing pension accounts, and the student applying for their first credit card. Everyone is valuable to someone trying to make a quick digital buck. The illusion that it's too small to matter is precisely what scammers count on. They'd rather steal a few hundred from 10,000 people than a million from one. So next time you fill out an online form, pause for a second. Ask yourself who's really asking for that information and why. The line between security and exposure is thinner than you think. Your data isn't just yours once it leaves your screen. It becomes part of a massive ecosystem that either respects your privacy or exploits it, and sadly, the latter is far more common. As we move forward, keep this simple truth in mind. In the digital world, identity is currency. Whoever controls it controls your financial and social existence. You can lose money and earn it back, but once your reputation or credit identity is compromised, rebuilding it can take years. In the next chapter, we'll dive into one of the oldest yet most constantly evolving tricks in the cyber world, phishing, and learn how even the most skeptical user can fall for a message that feels just a little too real. Picture this. You're scrolling through your inbox, half awake, when you see an urgent email from your bank saying your account will be locked if you don't verify your details immediately. The logo looks right, the tone feels formal, and there's even a link that supposedly takes you to your bank's website. You click, log in quickly, and everything seems fine, until a few hours later you notice several mysterious withdrawals. That's phishing in action, the art of using fake communication to fish for your private information. And trust me, this digital bait catches more victims than any other type of online scam. Phishing is everywhere because it's simple, cheap, and devastatingly effective. The term itself comes from phishing, with a deliberate twist. The attacker throws out lures in the form of emails, calls, or messages, waiting for someone to bite. They don't need to hack banks when they can trick people into handing over their keys. It's low effort, high reward, and when executed right, almost indistinguishable from legitimate communications. The scary part, even tech-savvy users fall for it. Let's break down how it works. A typical phishing campaign starts with a blast of thousands, sometimes millions, of messages that mimic trusted entities, banks, postal services, government agencies, or even your employer. Each message carries a sense of urgency designed to override your logic. Your payment has failed. A package is waiting. Suspicious activity detected. Those phrases are psychological bait, triggering fear or curiosity to make you act fast before you think twice. Once you click the link, the trap springs shut. Often, that link doesn't take you to the real website at all, but to a detailed imitation of it. The scammers use a technique called spoofing, faking the appearance of a website or an address so it looks genuine. URLs differ by just one character. Domains are registered with look-alike names, and the design flawlessly mirrors the original. The goal isn't to infect your computer immediately, but to make you type your credentials yourself. You're not just a victim, you become an accomplice in your own breach. Now imagine how the game changes when they combine phishing with personal data stolen from other leaks. The message doesn't just say, "Dear customer," it greets you by name, mentions your city, or references your recent purchases. That's called spear phishing. It's highly personalized, which makes it extremely convincing. This level of detail destroys the classic signal we rely on to spot scams: the idea that they look fake. In modern phishing, nothing really looks fake anymore. And then there's voice phishing, or vishing, where scammers impersonate bank agents or officials over the phone, using scripts and even stolen call center backgrounds. Some use synthesized voices powered by artificial intelligence to sound more credible. Others clone actual voices from online videos or social media clips. So, if you ever thought you wouldn't fall for a phone scam, think again. The technology is catching up frighteningly fast. The moment you start hearing your bank officer sound confident and serious, you're already halfway hooked. Text messages are another battlefield. You've probably received one saying, "Your package is held, click to resolve," or "We detected suspicious login attempts." Those are smishing attacks, phishing via SMS. The logic is the same, the execution faster. Most of us read texts instantly and trust them more than emails, which makes this method a goldmine for criminals. And since phones store everything from payment apps to passwords, a single tap can lead straight to your entire financial life. In some cases, phishing doesn't even aim to steal money directly. Sometimes it's about planting malicious software, malware, on your device. The next time you enter your credentials anywhere, that hidden program captures them and sends them straight to the fraudster. They can monitor your activity for weeks before striking. The result? You think you fixed the problem when you've only started feeding them more data. Why does phishing work so well after all these years? Because it exploits one universal truth: people trust authority and hate losing access. When an email looks official and mentions consequences like account suspension or missed deliveries, your brain doesn't analyze. It reacts. Scammers understand this instinct better than any psychology book could. That's why even companies full of IT professionals regularly fall victim to phishing tests or real attacks. Corporate phishing has its own flavor. Criminals use fake invoices, fake vendor accounts, or CEO impersonation to trick employees into transferring funds. It's such a common scam that businesses now train workers to double-check every transfer request, even if it seems perfectly legitimate. Large corporations have lost millions to simple email manipulation. All it took was one employee too busy to question a slightly misspelled address. One of the most creative evolutions of phishing involves social networks. Imagine receiving a direct message on your favorite app from a friend saying, "Check this out," with a link. You click, of course, because you trust them, but that link leads to a stolen account or a cloned profile used to spread malware. Once infected, your account starts sending the same message to your contacts, looped infinitely like a contagion. It's the digital version of passing along a cold, except this one drains bank accounts instead of your energy. Let's pause for a second and talk psychology again. Scammers have learned to play emotions like violin strings. Fear of missing out, anxiety about being locked out, greed for quick rewards, or curiosity about mysterious attachments. All of it triggers impulse reactions. The internet accelerates those impulses because everything happens instantly. You're trained to respond to pings, notifications, and reminders. Phishers simply hijack that rhythm and make it work against you. Another subtlety is timing. Many phishing emails go out early in the morning or late at night when people are distracted or sleepy. Others coincide with important dates, tax season, Black Friday, or national holidays, when people expect messages from banks, authorities, or stores. It's not random. Every campaign is planned to hit you precisely when your defenses are low and your attention is scattered. In short, they know your routine better than you do. Now, about protection. If you want to outsmart phishing, start by becoming skeptical of urgency. No legitimate institution ever forces you to act immediately through an email link. Always check the sender's address closely, not just the display name. Hover over links before clicking. If the URL looks weird, it probably is. Better yet, go directly to the institution's official website or app instead of following any emailed instructions. Simple habits like these save thousands every day. Password managers can also be lifesavers here. They automatically detect fake domains because they won't fill your credentials if the site isn't legitimate. It's like having a digital guard dog that barks when something's off. And two-factor authentication adds another lock on the door. Even if someone steals your password, they can't break in without your second confirmation. Think of it as a spare shield in a world full of digital arrows. Companies fight phishing with technology too, using spam filters, AI monitoring, and employee awareness campaigns. Some even conduct fake phishing exercises internally to train workers in spotting suspicious emails. It might sound trivial, but one well-informed employee can stop a catastrophic leak. Remember, in cybersecurity, the weakest link is almost always human behavior, and that link can be strengthened by simple education. However, not all phishing is about mass deception anymore. We've entered the age of precision fraud. Criminals analyze LinkedIn profiles, corporate structures, and personal schedules before launching a single, perfectly crafted email to one specific target. When the CEO of a company receives a message that seems to come from their accountant, complete with signatures, writing style, and timing, that's not random chance. That's research. It's cyber espionage disguised as casual communication. The scale of phishing today is staggering. In every passing minute, thousands of fake messages circulate across the globe. Some are caught by spam filters, many slip through, but only one needs to succeed to make the entire campaign profitable. With automated tools, the cost of launching attacks is nearly zero. The economic equation is heavily tilted in favor of the scammers, and that's why this war never truly ends. You might think regulators could just block these emails or websites systematically. In reality, scammers adapt faster. As soon as one domain is blacklisted, another pops up minutes later with a slightly altered name. Even artificial intelligence, designed to detect scams automatically, struggles to keep up because phishing language evolves daily. It's like chasing shadows that change shape every time you shine a light on them. One good practice is to maintain what could be called a culture of cautious communication. Treat unexpected messages with polite suspicion. If a friend or colleague sends something odd, verify through a different channel. A quick phone call or short text can save you hours of headache later. It might feel awkward, but digital politeness is overrated when your savings are at stake. There's a bigger question underneath all of this. What does phishing say about us as digital citizens? It shows that technology, no matter how advanced, can't substitute common sense. The innovation designed to connect us also exposes us when we forget to be careful. Every email, every link, every login is an act of trust. And trust, once exploited, is hard to rebuild. In a world built on connectivity, vigilance becomes the new literacy. So next time your phone pings with an urgent message, take a breath. Ask yourself, who sent this and why does it feel urgent? Fear and urgency are the oldest tricks in the book, yet they still work because they target what makes us human. You're smarter than any algorithm, as long as you slow down and think. Because when you click without thinking, that's when the scammer wins. In the following chapter, we'll explore one of the most emotional and heartbreaking forms of online fraud: romance scams. Unlike phishing, these prey not on fear or greed, but on love itself. And as you'll soon discover, that's what makes them arguably the most dangerous of all. Love used to begin with a glance across a cafe, a shared laugh at work, or a friend of a friend setting you up on a date. Today, it often starts with a message, a like, or a match on a glowing screen. And while that shift feels modern and convenient, it opened the door for one of the cruelest forms of cyber fraud: romance scams. Unlike phishing or identity theft that play with fear or greed, romance fraud manipulates something far deeper: your heart. It turns emotion into a weapon and intimacy into a business model. Romance scams work because they don't start as scams at all. They start with connection, or at least the illusion of it. The fraudster creates an attractive profile, filled with pictures stolen from real people, often models or soldiers, to evoke a sense of trust or admiration. Over days or weeks, they slowly build a bond with you. They listen, they ask about your dreams, and they create emotional chemistry that feels authentic. It's not hacking, it's acting, emotional engineering instead of computer code. Once that emotional hook is in place, the story begins to take shape. Usually, the scammer claims to live abroad or travel constantly for work, maybe as a doctor in a conflict zone, an oil engineer on a rig, or a soldier stationed overseas. That distance becomes the perfect excuse for why they can't meet you in person just yet. Every message you exchange strengthens the illusion that you've found someone special, someone who understands you. You feel seen, appreciated, even loved. But behind the screen, you're being studied and prepared for the next phase. After enough trust has built up, the first request comes. It might sound small: help paying a medical bill, a travel ticket, or a customs fee. They promise to pay you back soon, but swear they're in a temporary bind. If you hesitate, they may turn up the pressure, adding drama, a sudden illness, a broken laptop, a sick relative. The details vary, but the emotional manipulation follows the same pattern. They make you the hero in a story where they play the victim. By the time money changes hands, the psychological investment is already too deep. Victims rationalize the payment as helping someone they love, not as being tricked. Many even feel guilty for doubting the person's sincerity. And that's what makes this scam so destructive. It doesn't just drain bank accounts, it shatters trust in yourself. Victims often say losing their savings hurt less than realizing their affection was fake. You might wonder how people fall for something so elaborate. But the structure of online dating is what enables it. Apps are designed to trigger instant connections, and the flood of messages normalizes strangers becoming intimate quickly. In digital romance, vulnerability is currency. When you share your heartbreaks, hopes, or frustrations, you hand over emotional leverage. A skilled scammer knows exactly how to mirror your feelings to make you believe the bond is mutual. Romance scams often evolve slowly, lasting months or even years. Some scammers maintain multiple relationships simultaneously, juggling several victims like parallel storylines. They build personas with fake families, social media accounts, and even video calls with pre-recorded footage. Technology has made deception scalable. Artificial intelligence can now generate faces that don't exist, or voices that match stolen photos. It's not just catfishing anymore. It's deep fake love, scripted and soulless. Let's talk numbers for a moment, but we'll keep them in perspective. Around the world, billions are lost each year to love scams, but the emotional damage multiplies that figure infinitely. Victims often isolate themselves afterward, ashamed to reveal they were conned. Society tends to romanticize intelligence and mock naivety, forgetting that loneliness can make anyone vulnerable. It's not stupidity that causes people to fall. It's hope. One trademark sign of a romance scam is control over communication. The scammer often moves the conversation off the dating app quickly to private messaging platforms like WhatsApp or Telegram. That isolation makes it harder for the app's moderation systems to catch them. They also discourage you from discussing your relationship with friends or family, claiming others wouldn't understand or might ruin something special. The goal is to cut you off from external perspective because an outside voice can break the illusion. Psychologically, romance scams function much like cults. The manipulator uses love bombing, flooding you with affection and validation, to create emotional dependency. They send messages all day, remember tiny details, and make you feel unique. Then, when they withdraw suddenly or introduce stress, you panic. You'll do almost anything to restore that affection. They exploit that panic window to ask for money or favors. It's not romance, it's conditioning. Some versions of this scam blur lines between romance and investment fraud. The so-called pig butchering schemes, popular in Asia and spreading worldwide, start with a romantic pretext but pivot into fake financial opportunities. After weeks of emotional grooming, the scammer introduces a magical investment platform and encourages their partner to try it. At first, small sums produce fake profits. Then, bigger deposits follow. Until one day, the website vanishes, the phone disconnects, and the dream collapses overnight. The speed at which scammers can experiment and refine their tactics today is unprecedented. They learn from each other, share scripts, and adapt cultural nuances depending on the target. A scammer writing to someone in Europe will craft a different backstory than one targeting a victim in Asia or America. It's industrialized deceit powered by emotional intelligence and analytics. The victim's language, habits, and even typing rhythm become raw data for manipulation. Now, let's talk about devices: your phones, tablets, and computers. These are your digital front doors, and just like physical ones, they need regular maintenance. Keep your operating system and apps updated no matter how many times you hit "Remind me later." Updates often contain security patches that close recently discovered loopholes. Hackers study those updates too, and the moment a new fix is released, they exploit the old version. If you delay, you're practically inviting them in. Public Wi-Fi is another silent danger. Sure, free internet at coffee shops feels convenient, but it's often unencrypted, meaning anyone with basic tools can spy on your traffic. Avoid logging into banks or sensitive accounts on public networks. If you must, use a reliable VPN, which encrypts your connection so prying eyes can't see what you're doing. Think of it as whispering instead of shouting in a crowded cafe. A healthy relationship, even virtual, grows with balance and mutual interest. A fraudulent one thrives on urgency, secrecy, and flattery. Romance scammers often use time zones and work obligations as shields to explain absences. They'll apologize frequently, promise visits that never happen, and sprinkle every excuse with affection. But notice what never changes. They always need something from you. Real connections fill you. Scams drain you. Recovering from romance fraud is a personal earthquake. First comes shock, then anger, then shame. Victims often replay every message, trying to find the exact moment where reality broke. But that's not helpful. The point isn't where it began, it's where it stops. Reporting the scam might feel humiliating, yet it's crucial. Every report helps authorities track patterns and warn others before they fall into the same trap. Silence protects the scammer, not the victim. There's another side to this story: the digital infrastructure that enables these scams to spread. Dating apps depend on growth and engagement, meaning they thrive on more interactions, not necessarily safer ones. Background checks and identity verification exist, but they're often minimal because friction reduces signups. Companies have begun implementing AI detection for fake profiles, but scammers constantly evolve. The paradox is clear. The same technology that connects lonely hearts also connects predators to their prey. Preventing romance fraud starts with radically rethinking online intimacy. It doesn't mean distrusting everyone you meet online, but recognizing that intimacy without verification is risky. Video calls, voice messages, and verifiable details can filter out the majority of imposters. Equally important is educating older generations. Many victims are retirees with savings, isolated and new to digital spaces. Awareness campaigns aren't just for teenagers. They're for anyone with a smartphone and a beating heart. There's a particularly cruel version of the scam called recovery fraud, where the same criminals or new ones contact victims pretending to be law enforcement or fraud recovery experts. They claim they can retrieve lost funds, for a small fee, of course. It's a scam stacked on a scam, preying on people's desperation. The emotional devastation makes victims easy to manipulate again, creating a vicious cycle of hope and disappointment. What makes this specific kind of fraud so dangerous is that it doesn't just exploit trust. It exploits the universal need to be loved. No antivirus software can block loneliness, and scammers know that perfectly well. They insert themselves into emotional voids, turning affection into opportunity. The more genuine your need, the easier their job. It's one of those rare crimes where victims often protect their abuser longer than they protect themselves. Let's look at how to spot the early warning signs. Any relationship that accelerates unnaturally fast online should raise a flag. If someone declares love within days or insists you're soulmates before you've met, pause and breathe. Notice patterns: inconsistent storytelling, bad grammar in otherwise polished profiles, or reluctance to video call live. And most importantly, pay attention to emotional manipulation tactics. Guilt, pity, or dramatized disasters designed to make you feel responsible for them. Romance scams leave more than financial scars. They reshape how people see trust itself. Imagine wanting to believe in love again, but questioning every compliment, every good morning text. It's like rewiring the brain to doubt kindness. The internet, which once promised endless connection, can quickly feel like a minefield of deceit. That emotional fallout silently spreads through society, making all of us a bit more cynical, a bit more guarded. Yet awareness is power. Once you understand how these scammers operate, you start to build resilience. You learn to differentiate genuine affection from scripted charm. You begin to ask questions instead of accepting rehearsed answers. And perhaps most importantly, you remember that asking for proof isn't rude, it's self-respect. Trust doesn't vanish because of fraud, it simply becomes smarter. Every generation has its own version of the dream investment, the shortcut to wealth that feels almost magical. In the past, it might have been gold mines, tulip bulbs, or real estate. Today, it's crypto coins, AI trading bots, and exclusive platforms promising outrageous returns. But behind all those glossy websites and futuristic buzzwords hides one of the oldest traps in human history: greed dressed as opportunity. When ambition meets deception, the results can be financially catastrophic. The internet turned investing into something everyone can do, but also something everyone can fake. A slick landing page, a few social media influencers, and boom, a brand new miracle investment is born overnight. These scams play the same tune: low effort, high profit, and zero risk. anyone who has spent more than 5 minutes online has seen it. Ads that scream, "Double your money in a week," or "Quit your job with passive income." They're not speaking to your logic. They're speaking to your dreams. You might never fall for a romance scam yourself, but odds are someone you know could. The best thing you can do is talk about it openly. Remove the stigma, share information, and make empathy part of cybersecurity. Blaming victims only feeds silence, and silence keeps the scam alive. Love shouldn't make you poorer, emotionally or financially. So the next time someone online showers you with affection too fast, remember this chapter. They might just be looking for your heart, not to keep it, but to cash it out. In the next part of our journey, we'll switch gears and look at another kind of deception that doesn't appeal to your emotions, but your ambition. Fake investments, cryptocurrencies, and digital schemes promising wealth that disappears as soon as you reach for it. Let's start with the granddaddy of all financial cons, the Ponzi scheme. Named after an Italian swindler from the early 20th century, this scam works by using money from new investors to pay fake profits to earlier ones. Everything looks perfect until the flow of new money slows down and the entire structure collapses like a house of cards. The internet made Ponzi schemes faster and larger than ever because online marketing can reach millions instantly. The playbook hasn't changed, but the stage has grown global. You've probably heard of investment programs claiming to use artificial intelligence or algorithmic trading to guarantee consistent returns. Sounds scientific, right? Except that real markets don't guarantee anything. And that's precisely what gives the scam away. Fraudsters use technological jargon to overwhelm people who don't fully understand finance but don't want to admit it. AI-powered arbitrage, quantum analytics, neural market prediction. It all sounds legitimate until you realize the code doesn't exist or the data is entirely fabricated. Then came the era of crypto, the new playground of deception. The idea of decentralized money captured imaginations across the globe, and with good reason. But where innovation goes, manipulation follows. Fake crypto projects, sometimes called rug pulls, promise revolutionary tokens, collect millions, then vanish as the creators sell everything and disappear. The blockchain keeps a record of the theft, sure, but that doesn't help when the culprits are halfway across the world behind anonymous accounts. Crypto scams aren't limited to fake coins. Some involve imitation exchanges or trading platforms that look legitimate until you try to withdraw your profits. Suddenly, your account freezes, support stops replying, and the site disappears. Other scams impersonate well-known figures, using stolen video clips of entrepreneurs or celebrities claiming they've found the next big coin. It's social proof turned into social poison. People believe because they want to believe. Online investment scams also rely heavily on community psychology. Once you join a Telegram or Discord group filled with hundreds of excited investors, you feel reassured. Everyone seems to be profiting, screenshots flood the chat, and early adopters brag about withdrawals. That's all staged. Those early users are often insiders or bots meant to build credibility. The excitement becomes contagious, and fear of missing out takes over until the moment the site shuts down, leaving digital silence where fortune once echoed. Another dangerous mutation of this scam type is fake financial mentorships and trading courses. Gurus flaunting sports cars or beachfront villas promise to teach their secrets of success. They claim insider knowledge of market timing or special algorithms only available to their students. In reality, the only profitable business they run is selling hope. The people getting rich are not the investors, but the instructors. Their wealth depends on your belief, not on market truth. A close cousin to these crypto frauds is the so-called cloud mining scam. You're told that you can rent computing power from a remote facility that mines digital currency for you. The website shows real-time dashboards, fancy data charts, and simulated earnings ticking upward, except there's no real mining happening. It's just lines of code showing fake motion. It's like watching water boil on a turned-off stove. The illusion works because people see numbers and assume reality. Now, let's pause and ask the hard question. Why do intelligent, educated people fall for these things? Because scams like these don't sell investments. They sell emotions. They promise freedom, empowerment, and exclusivity. They make you feel smart for seeing an opportunity others missed. And when you start telling friends about it, you're unknowingly doing free marketing for the fraudsters. Greed blinds, but ego seals the deal. Sometimes the deception goes full circle with pyramid schemes disguised as affiliate earnings models. You invest a small amount and are told you can make more by recruiting others. Those others bring in more people, and as long as new participants keep arriving, everyone at the top cashes out happily. But when recruitment slows, payments stop, and chaos follows. The scam thrives on social trust, friends inviting friends, and destroys relationships as quickly as it builds fortune mirages. Governments and regulators have tried to keep up, issuing alerts and blacklists, but technology moves faster than policy. Scammers hide behind offshore jurisdictions, encrypted wallets, and constantly changing domains. The anonymity that protects activists and whistleblowers also shields con artists. That's the double edge of digital freedom. For every breakthrough that empowers users, there's a loophole waiting to be exploited. It's important to note that not every bad investment is a scam. Markets go up and down. Businesses fail. The problem starts when someone guarantees results or hides risks. No legitimate financial product promises consistent double-digit returns without volatility. Every genuine investor knows the formula. Higher returns mean higher risk. When a stranger promises both security and massive profit, you're not being offered a deal. You're being baited. Let's take a closer look at how scammers orchestrate credibility. They use fake registration numbers, staged office photos, and partnerships with imaginary auditors. They sponsor online ads, hire models to appear as executives, and even use paid press releases to flood search results with positive mentions. To the untrained eye, it all seems legitimate, but upon closer inspection, everything falls apart. The addresses don't exist, the employees vanish, and the testimonials come from stock image libraries. For crypto investors, the best way to stay safe is to focus on transparency. Real projects have public teams, verifiable roadmaps, and open source code that third parties can audit. They don't promise guaranteed profits or rush you into buying before a countdown expires. Scams, on the other hand, thrive on time pressure. They exaggerate scarcity, use influencer endorsements, and bombard you with language designed to trigger urgency. Remember, urgency is always the enemy of sound judgment. Here's another key lesson. Complexity doesn't equal legitimacy. Scammers use overly technical terms to intimidate you into silence. If you don't understand what someone's saying about your money, that's not your fault. It's a red flag. Real professionals explain investments clearly because clarity builds trust. Fraudsters wrap everything in mystery because confusion breeds compliance. It's also worth mentioning recovery scams once again in this context. Victims of one fraud are often targeted by another group claiming they can retrieve lost funds for a fee. They might send legal-looking documents, reference fake courts, or pose as cyber investigators. It's a cruel recycling of hope, exploiting people's despair just when they're most vulnerable. Losing money once hurts. Losing it twice because you wanted justice feels unbearable. One effective way to shield yourself from this type of fraud is to verify credentials independently. Don't rely on screenshots or promises. Check registration databases. Ask questions about regulation, and be skeptical of anyone who resists scrutiny. If you're told you wouldn't understand, it's too technical. Take that as your cue to leave. Real finance may be complex, but it's never secret. Let's step back and view this from a wider lens. Online investment scams reveal something uncomfortable about human. We crave shortcuts. Hard work and time feel outdated when the internet claims to multiply wealth overnight. The fraudsters simply exploit that impatience. They mirror our desire for security, status, and control, turning those instincts against us. In many ways, fake investments are psychological mirrors reflecting not just greed, but aspiration. So, before you trust the next automated wealth generator, pause. If it appeals to your greed more than your logic, it's a trap. Real progress feels slow and sometimes boring, but that's how genuine wealth grows. Quick gains vanish as quickly as they appear. In the next chapter, we'll step away from the scams themselves and move into the defensive arena, how you can build a personal digital fortress to keep your identity, your money, and your sanity safe from this entire modern underworld. If all this sounds bleak, there's still good news. The same technology that enables fraud can also empower protection. Blockchain analytics can trace stolen funds. Machine learning detects abnormal trading patterns, and online communities warn each other faster than ever before. Knowledge spreads, and awareness acts like a vaccine. The more people understand how these scams work, the fewer victims there will be. Whenever you see an offer that sounds too good to be true, remember the name of this chapter. Because it always is. There's no secret formula, no AI predicting markets flawlessly, no platform that prints money while you sleep. Investing carries risk and effort, always. The internet didn't change that fundamental law. It just multiplied the ways people can forget it. Let's start at the foundation. Passwords. Yes, the boring stuff everyone ignores until it's too late. The average person reuses the same password across multiple accounts, and that's the digital equivalent of leaving every door in your house unlocked. You need unique, complex passwords for every platform. And no, your pet's name plus your birth year doesn't count. The simplest solution is using a password manager, a tool that generates and stores strong passwords securely. Think of it as a vault only you can open. Next, add an extra lock, multi-factor authentication. It's that thing where you get a one-time code on your phone before logging in. Annoying? Maybe. Effective? Absolutely. Even if someone steals your password, they can't access your account without the second key. That single habit blocks a huge percentage of cyber attacks. Every major service today offers it, and if yours doesn't, consider switching. By now, you've seen how the internet can turn from opportunity to danger faster than you can hit refresh. But here's the bright side. Defending yourself online isn't rocket. It's not about becoming an expert hacker or memorizing endless tech jargon. It's about building habits that make you harder to target, and that's something anyone can do. Because here's a truth the scammers don't want you to realize. Cyber thieves go after the lazy, not the careful. Building your digital fortress starts with one simple idea. Your data is valuable. Every password, email address, document, and photo is a piece of a larger puzzle that defines your digital identity. Once you start treating that identity like money, you begin to protect it differently. Forget the mindset of, I have nothing to hide. You do. Your identity, your reputation, your voice, and they're worth more online than you think. Emails remain one of the favorite doors hackers use to enter. No cybersecurity tool can protect you from curiosity or hurry. So, slow down. Avoid clicking on links or attachments from unknown sources, and be wary of any message that triggers urgency. Verify now, final warning, or you've won. Those words are emotional bait. Hover over links to preview where they lead, and if it looks suspicious, delete it without guilt. Remember, real institutions never pressure you via email. A big part of online safety is about controlling your information before others can abuse it. Trim what you share on social media. Cute vacation photos can reveal your location. Job updates can show your income bracket. Even birthdays help scammers guess passwords or security questions. Oversharing might feel harmless, But together, those clues reveal more than you imagine. Privacy isn't about paranoia. It's about limiting the ammunition attackers can use against you. Data leaks are inevitable in today's digital world, so assume that somewhere, one of your accounts has been compromised. That's not fear, that's realism. To minimize damage, use separate emails for different purposes. One for work, one for banking, one for social media, and so on. This segmentation means that if one account is breached, others remain safe. It's like not storing all your valuables in a single drawer. Cybersecurity isn't just technical, it's behavioral. Scammers exploit not weaknesses in software, but weaknesses in people. They rely on shortcuts, negligence, and overconfidence. So train yourself to pause before every digital action. If a deal looks too good, if a message feels off, or if someone insists on urgency, stop and think. That pause, just a few seconds of skepticism, can save you from weeks of chaos. Back up your data like your sanity depends on it. Because one day, it might. Cloud services, external hard drives, or encrypted USBs work fine. Just make sure the backup isn't connected when not in use. That way, even if ransomware encrypts your machine, your files are safe elsewhere. Remember the old saying, people are divided into two groups, those who back up their data and those who eventually wish they had. Let's talk about mobile apps for a minute. Many free apps trade privacy for convenience. They ask for permissions they don't need: camera, microphone, contacts, and most users just press allow. Every granted permission is a potential leak. Review your settings every few months and uninstall what you don't use. Fewer apps mean fewer doors to guard. Financial awareness is another underrated shield. Check your accounts regularly, not just at the end of the month. Small, unfamiliar charges often signal testing transactions. Scammers verifying your card works before striking big. If your bank offers real-time transaction alerts, activate them. The faster you catch odd activity, the faster you can stop it. Financial vigilance is not obsession, it's self-defense. Another practical step: use credit rather than debit cards for online purchases when possible. Credit cards often have stronger fraud protection, whereas debit card theft drains your real money immediately. It's a small change with big consequences. And never ever send money to someone you haven't met in person, no matter how compelling the reason. Distance and emotion blur judgment. Don't let them. For families, cybersecurity is a team sport. Teach kids and older relatives how scams work. Younger users share too much. Older ones trust too much. Both are vulnerable in different ways. Make it normal to talk about online security at home, not as a scary topic, but as everyday life hygiene, just like locking the front door or washing hands. Fear isolates. Education empowers. Businesses face their own battles in this digital war. For small entrepreneurs, investing in cybersecurity tools feels like an expense, until a breach wipes out half their savings. Simple steps like employee training, regular backups, and updated antivirus software can prevent massive losses. Cybercrime doesn't care if you're a global corporation or a local bakery. If you handle money online, you're a target. Let's not forget about scams pretending to be tech support. You know the kind: a pop-up saying, "Your computer is infected. Call us now." Never call numbers from those warnings. Real companies don't reach out that way. These scammers will ask for remote access, install malware, then charge you to remove the problem they created. The golden rule: if someone contacts you out of nowhere about your device, it's probably a con. Another subtle trap is trust fatigue. When everything online feels suspicious, some people stop paying attention altogether. That's when they become easy prey. The goal isn't constant paranoia, it's mindful caution. Think of cybersecurity not as fear, but as fitness. Just as you maintain your body with regular gym habits, maintain your digital life with consistent smart habits. Over time, they become second. Now let's tackle the mental game. One reason scams succeed is emotion, fear, greed, love, urgency. So train yourself to recognize those emotions as red flags. When something online makes you feel a sudden spike of excitement or panic, step back. The brain's impulse to act immediately is what scammers hijack. The moment you slow down, you regain control. Technology can help, but it's not magic. Antivirus programs, firewalls, and security updates form the outer walls of your fortress, but you remain its gatekeeper. A distracted moment can defeat the most sophisticated defenses. The balance between safety and convenience is your responsibility to manage. Security is rarely glamorous, but it's what separates digital freedom from digital chaos. You might think all this effort sounds exhausting, but cybersecurity isn't about perfection. It's about resilience. Even experts get phished, hacked, or fooled occasionally. What matters is how much you limit the fallout and how fast you recover. If a breach happens, act quickly. Change passwords, inform your bank, and alert any relevant institutions. Shame serves no purpose. Action does. Awareness also means staying updated. Cybercrime evolves. Yesterday's trick becomes tomorrow's punchline. Follow credible tech news, learn the patterns, and share knowledge with others. The internet isn't going anywhere, and neither are the scammers. So your best defense is a moving target, constant learning. The more curious you remain, the safer you stay. Let's end this journey where it began, with control. The internet can steal from you, manipulate you, even humiliate you. But it can also empower you if you know how to navigate it. Building a digital fortress isn't about isolation. It's about confidence. It's about knowing the locks are strong enough to let you enjoy the freedom without fear. Safety, after all, is what gives meaning to progress. And here's the final truth. Every small protective habit you adopt adds up. One strong password, one ignored scam email, one skeptical pause, they all build resilience. You don't need to outsmart every hacker on Earth. You just need to be a harder target than the average user. Cyber thieves are opportunists, not superheroes. Give them friction and they'll move on. So go ahead, update your passwords, check your devices, and teach someone else what you've learned today. Because cybersecurity isn't a solo act. It's collective strength built one person at a time. Stay sharp, stay skeptical, and above all, stay safe. The digital world isn't out to get you. But if you're careless, it definitely won't miss the chance.